All right, episode two, Maddie.
Yeah, we're
here.
back.
We are, baby. Two down, one over podcast. I'm Josh Mason. This is Matt Flanagan, and we're here to rock the mic. All right, episode two, dude. Exciting, right?
Super exciting. I was happy about last time. That was a lot of fun. Looking forward to today. We got a lot of good topics I think we came up with, and I'm super excited about today's topic.
Yeah, man, me too. Again, we started it off. We had episode 1. We dropped it. Not to the public yet, but you guys will catch it by the time this comes out. But, yeah, excited to get on, too. We just got to keep rolling, and that's where we're at. So today's topic is establishing good habits. And why is that important, Matt? Why do you think that's important?
Good habits. So one thing that comes with me is compound interest. So I learned about compound interest a long time ago, and mostly it was a financial thing. And then it was broken down to me that a lot of things could compound, and one thing is knowledge and habits in general. So like an act of kindness or learning something every day, which learning something every day in my field, that's something that's important to me. But it's really character developing, and it's a key thing for success, I think, is establishing good habits. And a lot of the books that I've read really mark on that.
Yes.
Establishing good habits, daily habits, weekly habits, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I think you're right. And the flip side of that is establishing bad habits. Right? So, I mean, at the end of the day, if you have bad habits, it's pretty slim to none that you're going to not be successful.
Correct.
Right? So good habits is huge if you want to be successful. It's part of the formula. It's necessary for anything. I look at it as it's the stepping stones. It's the roadmap. It's the blueprint to establish any type of goals and or gain success. The establishing habits is something that forces you to be consistent at something, right? So what we miss and why, obviously in the gym and just in general, we see people fail or misstep because of inconsistency, right? They're having a problem of bringing consistency to the table, and a lot of people overlook this. And I see it all the time where, let's take, for example, just a basketball. Let's say a basketball athlete is looking to get better, right? It's not about you spending 6 and 7 hours in the gym, right? You don't have to kill yourself, more or less. But if every day you went in the gym for an hour for 365 days, I guarantee you're probably going to be a better basketball player.
I would think so if you did
right?
it the right way.
Yes. If you are struggling in reading or math, and you pitched out 20 to 25 minutes a day on that subject, I bet you're going to be more successful in that subject.
I would bet you that. Yeah.
It's the same thing what we deal with in the fitness world. People want to come in and they want the quick fix. I need to lose 10 pounds right now. Or, I want to get stronger right now. If you just come every single day for 1 hour, eventually you are going to be where you want to be. And it's about good habits. You got to establish the good habits.
And I think it becomes like a lifestyle. And that's, Josh touched on that. When people come into our gym, that's one of the most important things that we talk about is make this a habit. It's not about what kind of weight you throw around first or what you do. It's just showing up and making this part of your routine. And there's different things that break it down. 21 days it becomes a habit, and then 60 days it's a lifestyle, et cetera, et cetera. And that may be true, but at the end of the day, we want it to be part of your lifestyle, and not only fitness. And we'll kind of break down other things that we do on a daily basis that are habits, but that's huge. When you come here and you show up like that, that's a big step. And you, whether it's 3 days a week or 4 days a week, whatever it is, but it becomes part of who you are. And
yes.
That's you see these programs where it's a 2-month program or a 1 month, and that's good. But what do you do after that?
Yes. Yeah, and it's really dialing in. When you said like lifestyle, that's huge, right? It's dialing into your lifestyle. So, I hope that everyone brushes their teeth when they wake up, right? I hope that's the case. But you don't even think about that. Why? Because that's just a habit established in your lifestyle. You wake up, you brush your teeth, right? And you wouldn't miss that. It's already established. And that's the kind of attitude that you need to go after for a great habit, or to establish a habit. Is you got to look at it like that, right? It's like, hey, this is just part of the process. This is what I have to do in order to get to this end goal. And if you could do that, it's going to make it easier. It's going to simplify it for you. And it's just about patience and consistency at that point, right? Is establishing the good habit. So establishing good habits could run from your morning routine, right? How do you start your day every morning? Maybe what does your fitness look like? What does your family or your home lifestyle look like? What does your athletics and academics look like? These are all components that you can lead to success from establishing good habits. What's one of the good habits that you feel like that you have that helped in your life?
So one thing that's huge for me is, like I kind of touched on it before, but I wake up early in the morning and I read a little bit, something in the field of exercise science. So whether it's like a new weightlifting program or studying distance running or something like that, that's one of the first things I do when I wake up. I read this book called The 5 a.m. Club, which was like a life changer for me. And that's kind of what I remember as like the first thing that I read that was establishing good habits and doing it on a daily basis, and how much that can change your life. And that's really kind of when I bought into that. So one thing I took out of that is read as soon as I get up. And I'll tell you that there's some days where I read 5 minutes and I can't tell you what I read, but there's also days where I read about 20 minutes and I absorb something. And that just day after day after day after day compounds. And 6 months go by, a year goes by, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and you look back and you're like, wow, I really learned a lot. And that's, when I was in college, it was like I'm cramming for exams. High school, I'm cramming for exams. And, like Josh said before, like you want to be a good basketball player. It's not about putting 7 hours in the gym one day. No, it's about consistently working on something and getting better at that. And I didn't understand that growing up. And now, I'm a little bit older, a little bit more mature, and decided I did want to work on myself. And that's something for me. And now there's a lot of other things that I did pick up, but that's a huge thing for me. I love what I do. And for me, I got to stay on top of my game.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. One habit that I love for myself is there's one thing that I always try to take in every single day, even at night, is positive affirmations, right? So my thought is like we ride off of energy, right? Your thoughts, get your mind right? So what you want to feed the brain and the mind. So positive affirmations are huge for me. And, there's times where before I go to bed, it's just like a 2-minute YouTube video of positive affirmations. When I wake up in the morning, positive affirmations, whether I'm just speaking into the mirror or listening to something. Again, it doesn't have to be long, 2 minutes. It's just like almost like taking a daily vitamin. And that's how I look at it. And the reason why I love that so much is because think about what we're surrounded by, our society. There's a lot of negativity around us, right? So if you can have a daily dose of positive affirmation, right? And it's a daily habit. So every day I'm just taking that in. It keeps you on point, or it keeps you with good energy and good vibes. And I 100% would, advise that for anyone just to try it out, because it changes the game. And get your mind right. It's right there. So I love doing that. And that's one of the habits that then just sets the tone for whether it's the rest of the day, or sets the tone for the task that I got to complete, or sets the tone for the goals that I'm going after. So that's one important and vital habit that I have myself that I love to carry out,
Touching on that, I remember having a conversation with Josh. This is probably about a year ago, and Josh had mentioned that he did that every day. So I took that in, and I do that now on my way to work. I'm in the car about 5 o'clock in the morning, driving to the gym to try to get here for 5:30. And part of my morning routine now is actually affirmations.
Yep.
And just saying like I'm locked in for the day. Today's going to be a great day, and just surrounding myself with that positive energy. And I'll tell you what a difference it's made in my life. My mood is better. I feel like success comes a little bit easier. And I just feel like my focus throughout the day is just a lot better. So it's great insights.
Yeah.
And, a great addition to a morning routine.
It is
for sure.
It is. So what would you say to, like, our listeners or people that may struggle with establishing habits? Like, what is the first move for them? What can they do, or how do you set them up to establish a good habit?
I would say start small. I look back on my life and start small, and I'll give you an example. One of the first things that I did besides read and exercise science was have a cup of water early in the morning.
Yeah.
And I've consistently got up early for a while. I didn't know what to do with myself early in the morning, but I remember reading a book saying that at night you're dehydrated.
Sure.
And you become dehydrated. You don't have water throughout the night most of the time, but you wake up and start your day with a glass of water to kind of get yourself right. And that's a really small thing. And over time it does make a big difference.
Yes.
So I think something like that, where you really do have to start small and build off that.
Yep.
And like now I think I have maybe like 10, 11, 12 habits that I try to do every day that are super positive and really important for my life. But there's no way I'm going to add all of them at once.
Sure.
There's definitely no way. But I think that would be my advice is just start small and take one positive habit or take one thing. If maybe it's exercise, maybe it's go for a walk.
Yep.
and start your day off that way, or have a cup of water, or something like that. I think could really make an impact. And once you make that habit happen, it gives you a lot of confidence.
It does.
Because then you're ready, after a month, 2 months, then you're ready for another habit.
Right.
And you feel good about yourself, and you're ready to build, and you start to put that foundation, and then you can start to build up, and eventually after years you see what you built, and it's pretty amazing.
It is.
What would you say?
That's great advice about starting small, because I think a lot of people like to bite off too much.
Sure.
Right? So start small. I mean, like you said, wake up and drink a glass of water. Let's establish that as a habit. Start small. The other thing is just create a list, right? So what I do is, if you want to establish a habit, make sure you mark it down on a list somewhere there. You see it daily, where you can check the box, right? So if it's like, hey, did you drink your water? Did you go for a walk? Right? Maybe there's 2 habits that you want to establish yourself, so you just put them on paper, or put those on a dry erase board, or on your calendar, or something on your phone, and just make sure you see it every day. Boom, drink my water. Boom, going for a walk. Next day, same thing. And I think having a list, having a visual, it's a reminder, and it keeps you consistent, right? It's in your face. It lets you know. Sometimes to say, hey, I'm going to drink a water, and not keep it anywhere, or remind yourself, because remember, we're all humans, right? We forget, we have mistakes. So if it's something that that's where you struggle with, write it down, make it visual, so look for your pits. Something that is like, yourself the most. So if you're very forgetful, or if that you don't remember things, or you don't like to carry things out, this about yourself. So set up things in your life that's going to keep you consistent and avoid those pitfalls. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's things like that you got to establish. So Matt said a great point. Start small. And then secondly, write it down, make it visual. Is it on your mirror when you wake up? Is it on your phone as a reminder, as an alarm clock? Do you write it on notes? Start there and just get consistent, bang it out. And as Matt said, then you can add in more habits. Don't overload yourself with saying, all right, I'm starting 10 to 15 things that I want to start. You're not going to be successful. Knock out 1 or 2 or 1 to 3 things that you feel are small, but you can make happen. And put things around yourself that you're going to become successful, Yeah,
definitely. And I think one important thing to know too is you have to be disciplined with it. And like we talked about, you got to start small. If your goal is reading, you're probably not going to read for an hour in the morning. At least I know I'm not. I still don't.
Yep.
I still don't. But making sure I get up and at least attempt to do it every day is going to carry me a long way. And you're not always going to have that motivation, but just get up and do it, whatever it is. Or it doesn't even have to be in the morning. It could be just a daily activity that you do at noon or night, or, like Josh does his affirmations at night. But going back to what Josh said earlier, it's, you don't think about brushing your teeth. Right. You don't. And I could tell you a lot of these habits over time become like that, where you're on autopilot. You just do it. And it keeps building and building and building a better version of yourself by continuing to do this. But you certainly do get to a point, and I think Josh will probably agree with me, where it's just second nature. Yep. And sure, yeah, maybe you do start by writing it down, or creating that list, which is an excellent insight. But at the end of the day, after doing it so often, we're creatures of habit.
That's it, man.
We are creatures of habit. So we're either going to have good habits, bad, whatever it is. So to get that good habit is just practice, and then all of a sudden you're on autopilot.
Yes.
At least that's been my experience.
Yeah, that's great. And when you're thinking about establishing a habit, also a good strategy is what I say, reverse engineer, right? Mm-hmm. So if we want to reverse engineer, and let's just throw out a goal. I want to save $1,000, right? So I want to take that 1,000 and say, what does that equal per month? What does that equal per week? What does that equal per day? And by reverse engineering it, it gives you a track to follow. And maybe you don't follow it to the T, but you understand, here's the way to get there. I must do these things. And that's a way where you can establish a habit towards a goal, right, that you have. Or if it's something like, hey, I want to, eat cleaner and get tighter with my nutrition. It's the same thing. What is going to get me successful to do that? I know that my life is busy, so meal prep might be your answer, right? Meal prep. You might have one day where you meal prep, so it's ready to go because you're so busy, so all you have to do is grab it, right? So these are the things that we're trying to, relay to you as far as get things that mean something to you. Start small. Make sure you have a goal, and just be consistent. Be consistent, Yeah,
that's great. I remember I had a huge goal a while ago. This was like 25 years ago or something like that. And I was just thinking about it when Josh was talking, and I was talking to my brother, and he said, well, how do you eat a dinosaur? And I said, what? And he said, how do you eat a dinosaur? And he said, you do that by taking one bite at a time. And it as my life progressed, I kind of made more sense of it.
Yep.
Attacking small and consistency, like Josh said, that's how you do it. You could have a large goal like $1,000, and maybe to someone that's a large goal or small, whatever it is, but it's breaking it down like I never heard of that. That was the reverse engine. That's a good idea, but I think it's important to know that.
It is very important, and you just say you're not going to have all the answers. You're not going to know everything. You might get knocked off a track too, and that's okay. But if you have the habits in place, you're going to stay consistent, and regardless of what happens, if you got knocked off or maybe you're not feeling well, or you're not motivated, but if you're knocking these habits, regardless, it's leading you. You're moving the needle, right? I love the phrase of moving the needle, because it doesn't have to be a huge jump as long as it's moving. And that's what those habits establish, movement in your life,
Question.
Yes.
What's a habit that you're trying to do moving forward?
Like a new one?
A new one.
You want
to add a new one to your routine.
Yeah, let's add a new habit to my routine. I'm trying to think if I try to establish a newer habit in my life as of now. I don't know. That's a good question, Matt. That's a good question. I don't know if there's a new habit that I want to establish.
Or just maintain.
This is what I'll tell you right here. Look what we're doing.
Oh, that's it. Wow.
Boom. Right? Cool. So this is a new habit.
You're right.
This wasn't in our lifestyle. This wasn't in my cycle of things to do every week. we are establishing, making sure that we get here on Mondays and knock out an episode. This is a new habit, and this started last week. So far, so good.
So far, so good. Let's see how we move
here's
forward.
a great example of starting a new habit. We don't have all the answers. We're just going to be consistent. And if we're consistent, success should come and we'll be able to kind of roll here. So it was great that you asked that question because, I had to think. I'm like, man, new habits. Because threw me on the spot, but that's good. And this is a new habit.
Yeah.
So we're making it. We made, a conversation. We said, hey, dude, let's do this Mondays, right after that 9 a.m. session. And let's try to keep on doing that. And if we add in more days or times, we'll do that. But overall, Mondays are the days. So that's a new habit.
That's it. Start small, and let's see how we move forward.
Let me hit
this.
that question back to you.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, I was going to say this podcast, but you actually no, I wasn't even thinking about that. I just to be honest with you, and but you're right. Like this is and it's super important that that we do this.
Yep.
Not that every listener's got it, but really for us to follow through. Because at the end of the day, like we had conversations, and I think we have a lot to offer.
Sure.
Of insights and stuff that we studied, or people that had helped us get to where we are, and we're just trying to give back.
That's it.
And I think it is important that we do that. But I think one habit for me is walking.
Yeah.
I like walking. I like trying to walk a mile. I try to do that daily.
Yes.
I so often I do try to lift a little bit and run a little bit here, and I think one thing that I want to add to my daily routine is walking.
I like
whether it's like early afternoon, kind of wake up, get that second wind going for the second half of the day, and walking seems to do that for me. So staying consistent with that would be my goal that I'm
and that's small. You know what I'm saying? So like that's great for the listeners. It's just like, hey, it's as simple as just establishing walking, right? Like let's walk. And I'm down with that, man. Recently I started walking too with my wife, and it was just kind of get out because it's a beautiful day. You just want to walk, and then it just connected every day. We started walking. I was like, all right, so now it's kind of in the habit wheel of like, hey, are we going for our walk today?
Yeah.
And it's more than just say like, hey, it's exercise, but I think it gives you a lot of appreciation for just life in general. You have time to kind of like let your brain kind of go through and relax. There's nothing that you're doing tedious or stressing about, or maybe you are stressing about something and you need to walk to like kind of relieve that, right? Or maybe talk it out with a partner or whatnot. So I think walking's a great habit there. So back here, man, 2 down, 1 over. Episode 2, we're establishing good habits to be successful. I think we knocked it out of the park. I hope that we gave some value and some nuggets here that you guys can take and establish in your own life and build up habits. Matt, any last words for the listeners?
Start small. I hope you got something out of this, and I hope it's helped change your life like small habits have done for us.
That's it. So 2 down, 1 over. I'm Josh. This is Matt. We will catch you on the next episode. See you guys.
See ya.